So I'm out in this winter wonderland, just walking through the forest, trying to find a spot to set up camp for tonight. I'm pretty sure I found my spot that I'm going to camp tonight. It's a pretty nice little area right here, and I'm going to go ahead and set up camp. The first matter of business is stomping down a bunch of this snow here so that it gets really compact, and then I can cut some chunks out of it for my shelter. That ought to do for now. I'll cut some blocks out of this, and then if I need to do more, then I'll start walking again. Whew. This ground's got some big roots running through it that I didn't know were under the snow, and so I'm just gonna pack down some snow, a thin layer of snow, to kind of level it out and see how that works tonight. Oh man, building these shelters is a lot of work, but it's sure fun and nice to sit out here and enjoy the peace out here. All I'm hearing is a few birds, snow falling from trees, and enjoying the sunshine. Man, this is awesome. But yeah, it's time to refuel a little bit. I'm gonna make some lunch. I know it's after lunchtime. It's about 3:30 right now, 3:27, and so, but I feel like I'm pretty much running on fumes, so I need to get some fuel in me and get back to it. Got a lot of time before it's dark, about probably, I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hours, and so I'm looking good out here. So let's I'm gonna go ahead and get something to eat and check back in. I brought along my little alcohol stove today and the windscreen that I use with it. This is just a little Tokes alcohol stove. It works pretty well, and the windscreen doubles as a windscreen and a pot holder. However, it's got these little holes in it, and those holes are meant to have two little titanium stakes go through it, and yep, I forgot the stakes. So I'm gonna have to make a makeshift pot holder. Just get some wet sticks off some of these trees or whatever, and just cross them over so my pot can sit on it and not fall through. So we'll see how well that works. Go ahead and get this thing hooked together. Hooks together pretty easy. It just slides in these little slots, and then you just connect the final one the same way. So there's the windscreen, and those two stakes would go through here, and they would hold the pot. But right now the pot will fall in and sit on top of the alcohol stove, and so I don't want that to happen because it'll just put the alcohol stove out. So I'm gonna just lay some wet sticks over here. Shoot. Oh well. So rather than using wet sticks to go across here for my pot holder, I also needed something underneath because this will get pretty warm and it'll just melt through the snow. So what I've done is I've taken out one section of this and I formed a little bit of a triangle here now, and so that will hold my pot. And then I've also, this other piece I can rest on the ground and it'll hold my stove, so that will keep it from melting the snow. It might melt a little bit because this will may still warm up, but it'll be pretty, that should work pretty good. All right, that's lit. I don't do mountain house meals very often. I usually do make my own meals, dehydrate them, and bring those. This was just in a pinch today, and these aren't really, you know, the healthiest things. I've been eating pretty healthy lately, but I feel like I've burned a ton of calories out here hiking in, and then also making this snow shelter. So I'm gonna go ahead and have some biscuits and gravy. This is probably about the third or fourth mountain house meal or even freeze-dried meal I've ever eaten backpacking, and I've liked this one, mountain house biscuits and gravy. Usually have it for breakfast, but yeah, it's what I'm gonna eat right now because it's what I had at home. So gonna go ahead and try this, or not try it, I've eaten it before, but make it, and yeah, hopefully it'll give me the energy that I need. I just draw little marks on the side of my water bottle. You can get these little things that you stick on here to measure it, but then you have to, if you get rid of the water bottle, I don't know if they transfer to different bottles. So I just put a cup of water in, draw a line, put another cup, draw a line, and so on and so forth. And then I know exactly how much I'm using and how much I have left if I'm doing these freeze-dried meals. I do, with the meals that I make at home, I do know how much water to put in those as well, so that comes in handy even for the meals that I make at home and that I dehydrate. Those are awesome. And so yeah, just really healthy and really way less expensive than these mountain house things and these other freeze-dried meals. Not as easy, of course, but way less expensive, and I find that I know exactly what I'm eating. So anyway, this thing's bloomed. I'm gonna go ahead and stick this on. Hopefully this thing doesn't rock back and forth with this makeshift stove holder, but we'll see. It's kind of like, hopefully it'll melt a little hole in there. So far so good. We'll put the lid on, see how long that takes to boil. Woo. As long as it doesn't tip, we're okay. I've just been sitting out here in silence while I'm waiting for this thing to boil. It's almost there, but man, I don't know, getting out here alone in the winter time, getting out here alone in general is awesome, but the winter time, there's just something about it. Just the snow, the calm, the just not a ton of animals making noise, just snow falling, not from the sky right now because it's a clear day and sunny out, but snow's falling from the trees as it melts. It's just, for me, just straight therapeutic, and I can't think of anything better right now than to just be out here and enjoy this. Well, we've got a boil, so I'm going to go ahead and pour it into here, and then while it's doing its thing in here, I'm going to start building the shelter again. I'll catch you in a little bit. So I went ahead and got this down to the dirt right here because I wanted to have a spot that I could just come in, have a pad or mat or something on the ground and not have to step on the snow getting into bed tonight. So I did make this little section, and the rest of it is just snow on the ground, as you can see here. So I'll lay out my pad here and just yeah, sleep right here, and I'm gonna have a tarp over the head. So yeah, got to keep going. That ought to work quite nice. All right, got this meal ready to go, and I'm just gonna eat a little bit and then finish my shelter. I've got one more wall to do, and then I can put the tarp on and start making a spot for a fire and finding firewood. See how this tastes today. These things always taste better after you're exhausted, in my opinion. I think most anything would taste good right now. All right, I think one more bite and I'm gonna get to it. Save the rest of that for later. One more. Woo! All right. We did it. Now I've got to put the tarp on and make sure that that's gonna work good, and then yeah, it should be good to go tonight. We're not supposed to get any snow tonight, so I'm just gonna make the tarp flat. I might be asking for trouble, but I'm gonna stake it out pretty good, and so it hopefully won't fall in on me. If it does, oh well, I'll deal with it. I'm getting my tarp up on here. but I want this, I've staked out this corner right here, but I think I want it to be higher. So I'm gonna go grab a dead standing tree, use it for a post right here, and then use the rest of it for some firewood. So let's go grab that. So I've got this Agawa Boreal 21 saw that I always bring with me. Well, I guess not always. I bring it with me on a lot of trips that when I'm gonna be needing a bunch of firewood, because it just cuts so quickly, just folds up and unfolds so easily. And so just, yeah, trusty saw. And I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this dead standing tree down right here. And I want to make sure I don't nick this live tree going through it. So I'm gonna just be careful with that. All right, we're through, and I didn't touch that live tree. So let's haul this back. Whoa. All these branches on here are really dead and dry, so they'll make some good fire starter tonight. I'm gonna cut right here. I'm gonna make it longer than I think I need, because I can always cut it down. All right, let's see how this works. All right, so that's gonna freeze in there tonight, but it's still pretty loose, and I'm gonna pull the tarp that way pretty tight. So what I'm gonna do, I've done a clove hitch around here to secure this line to this pole. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hook another string, another rope onto here, and probably just do a sheet bend and connect these two lines actually, and then I can pull it that way, and I'll use a snow anchor to keep it pulled out so it won't pull this way toward the tarp, and loosen it up. So I've done a sheet bend right there to tie that, hook those together, and yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull this way and break off one of these branches. And do a snow anchor. So to do a snow anchor, you would just grab a piece of wood, or you can use an actual stake if you want, but I just use a piece of dead wood, and it works well. So I will wrap the line around this, and then you can kind of gauge how deep you need it, how tight you need that. Once it's in the hole, you take some snow and you bury it. Tamp it down, put on a little more, tamp that down, and then that will freeze in there. It's nice to get some snow that's not just totally like powder. So that snow anchor I just put in is going to secure this, pull this pole away from the tarp, and it's going to keep that tension on it. So when I go over to the other corner and I pull to tighten the tarp, it's gonna hold, it's not gonna let this post pull that way. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. So there's the finished product. Got the tarp on. It's gonna be a nice shelter for the night. So yeah, time to go grab some firewood. wanted to test a rocket stove tonight with just a bundle of logs and see how it would work, rather than taking one log and splitting it into pieces and hollowing out the middle, or just one log, big log, and drilling a hole in the middle. Whoa. I think if I had some, oh man. Oh geez, I think if I had some better wire with me than what I had. I just brought some really lightweight wire and it didn't work very well. So, but yeah, I'll try it next time and see if I can make it work. But I have a fire. Hey, win-win, I guess. The fire's ablaze. Tonight I'm just staying warm by the fire for a while, and then I'm gonna go in my shelter, and tonight I'm testing a new top quilt from Hammock Gear. It's a 10-degree top quilt. My normal top quilt that I use is a UGQ 20 degree, and that thing's been awesome. Tonight's supposed to get down to 9 degrees, and I would have been fine in my UGQ 20 degree. Really, I've taken it down to 7 degrees before, but this Hammock Gear top quilt is my son's. I got it for him, and I just wanted to make sure that it does actually perform to the level that it says before I take him out in it and he freezes. So giving it a shot tonight. Again, 10-degree top quilt from Hammock Gear, and supposed to get down to about 9 degrees tonight. So I have a thermometer with me, and so I'm gonna just see how well it does and what the temperature actually gets to. Yeah, so I will let you guys know. Well, it's been awesome out here. I'm gonna be turning off the camera and hopefully going to sleep. I'll catch you in the morning. Oh boy, last night was an adventure for sure. I'm testing out this new top quilt that I got for my son. It's by Hammock Gear. It's a 10-degree comfort rating, they say, and I'll tell you, I was less than impressed with it. There are a lot of cold spots. My feet were, even though it's a sewn foot box, my feet were cold all night long, and I have a pair of wool socks and a pair of down booties on. I'm wearing a fleece, a thermal base layer, a fleece, and this coat. And yeah, I was pretty cold all night long. I would say 10 degrees is probably a survival rating for this top quilt right here. Unfortunately, kind of a bummer. I was hoping it would be like my UGQ top quilt that is a 20-degree rated one, and I've had it down to 7 degrees and it's been great. Yeah, don't know what to say more about this thing. It'll do good in 3 seasons, but definitely not in these colder temperatures. It got down to 6.6 degrees last night, and I checked in the middle of the night because I couldn't sleep, and so I was like, how cold is it? And about 3 a.m. it got down to 6.6 degrees. I mean, it is lower than the temperature rating, but if this is a comfort rating of 10 degrees, it should be able to go down to 6.6 and be just fine. So, yeah, not really super impressed with it. I did shiver. I'm shivering right now. Shivered a good majority of the night, and yeah, anyway, I'm gonna crawl out of here and make some broth to try and warm my body up, and yeah, see what else I do. We'll catch you then. Sure is a beautiful morning out here. Just climbed out of my shelter, and yeah, it's beautiful. The sun glistening on the snow, and man, can't be beat. Now that we can see my shelter in the daylight, this is the inside of the shelter. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked on this little shelter. I don't know that it did anything for keeping any warm air in, but it definitely, if it would have snowed a little bit, it would have been fine. And anyway, it was fun to make, and you know, it's nice to get out here and be able to have some activities to do while you're trying to kill time. But anyway, it was a good time. My water's all frozen, so I've got to go get some snow, and looks like I'm going to be melting snow this morning. So here I go. Woohoo! That's deep. The snow's really got a lot of air in it, so this probably won't give me very much water. Everything's so cold. Doesn't want to light. Lighter doesn't want to work. I think I got it. Woo! Yep. So I got my alcohol stove to bloom, and now it's working pretty good. It's starting to melt the snow, and should have water pretty soon. So I can grab some more snow while I'm waiting for this to melt, and it's down more than halfway. So I'm going to go ahead and add some more in here and just keep it going. Looks like the snow is melting really nicely. Gonna have some warm water in a little while, because now it's got to go from ice water to boiling water. That should take a bit. You know, I find that all types of stoves have their issues. I think that a stove that's a canister stove that uses like isobutane fuel, those ones have issues with the fuel getting too cold, the stove getting too cold if it doesn't have a regulator. The alcohol stove, as you saw, it had an issue lighting this morning with everything being cold. And so I think that they all have their issues, and I find that you know, just trying different ones and finding the quirks of each one is super helpful, just because you can then know what to expect when you're using it, and knowing that, you know, I have to do this to get it lit. I have to keep my fuel canister with me maybe at night in my to keep it warm so that I can use it the next morning, whatever the case is. I did a video on 3 different stoves that I use: a canister stove, a alcohol stove, and also a hot tent stove that I've used for backpacking as well. And I'll leave a link to that video in the description. All right, that'll do. Well, this ended up being a pretty rad little spot. I had a really nice night out here, was able to build this cool shelter, and hopefully you liked the video. If you did, give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel. I'm putting out a new video every week, and it just helps me keep going and putting out new content. Anyway, hopefully you're all staying safe out there, you're all in good health, and I'll catch you on the next one.